and I've literally got everything in front of me.
You have. It's like you're about to. It's like you're on Blue Peter and you're about to show kids how to make a Tracy Island.
Yeah.
God, that show my age.
What is that over there?
What's what? It's your room.
I know. Is that a heater? Is that the heater? Can you knock it on its side? Like, gently.
This thing?
This thing. That's it.
Can I knock it on its side? It's a heater.
It's a heater. And
we're in the loft. If it
the
sets
way.
fire to it...
It's not on.
The screen's on.
Is the screen going to set a light?
No, but presumably, if the screen is on, then the heater is on.
Well, it's not on. Is it pushing out heat?
No. Might just be a really broken heater, because that's why it's not pushing the heat out.
Because it keeps getting knocked on its side.
If I knock it on its side, it's going to make it more broke. You'd like me to tip it over?
Yeah, give it a tip.
Okay, it's done.
It's tipped over. It's done. We've got a relatively clean, as intended, space now, so that's good.
And
there we go.
Potentially life-threatening
What is
heater
so
on
about
its
the
side.
heater?
Because I'm fucking next to it. If
You're
it explodes,
fine.
I'm in trouble.
You're going first. It's fine. Right. That's not actually pumping out. Oh, there's music now.
Is that like your podcast theme tune?
It's like standard. I awkwardly play it at the beginning of every one, just to get you in the mood.
I'm not sure what I'm in the mood for, but
It's definitely in the
I'm
mood.
feeling it.
Definitely.
Oh shit, are we recording? Damn.
We are recording.
Okay, hi.
I could potentially use this against you or for you.
Well, we both know which way that's going to go.
Right, it's happening, guys. Dreddy Eddie here, back with another video. I'm going to turn that off. Back with another vlog, and we are joined by the ever popular, the infamous Johnny Rickard.
Hang on, which one am I? Am I popular or am I infamous?
A bit of both.
Thank
Depends
you.
who you talk to.
Well, I'll take that opinion above anybody else's. Nice.
Thank you very much for being patient with me coming back to Coventry and finding you
No problem at all.
lost like a lost dog in the centre of the high street.
I was like a lost dog, because it all looks completely different now as well.
Yeah.
That's the one crazy thing. Like nothing, I can't go,
You've
I'll
been
meet you by
back to
here.
Coventry enough times.
A little bit, but it looks different every time I come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's literally every
Well,
time.
the
I mean, normally it's another student halls that has
student
sprung up.
accommodation.
Like that one near the train station. It's like a gold one
Isn't that a car park?
next to the Quadrant. It's awful. Awful. I said I wasn't going to say anything rude today.
About Coventry.
Yeah, and I've already started. No, whoever okayed that and greenlit that should be shot.
What is your most favourite famous Coventry building then?
That's where we're going, is it? Well, it's the cathedral, isn't it? Because
Cathedral,
everything
okay.
else is
Built around.
not as good. I'm really trying hard to be. Yeah, no, of course the cathedral. Yeah, it's amazing around there. But yeah, I'm not appreciating some of the newer architecture. Let's put it that way, shall we?
Fair enough.
Also, the train station. What the fuck's that about? Why have they
It's
done? Am I
completely changed.
right? Hang on.
Yeah,
Am I
you
allowed
go.
to swear?
Yeah, you can swear. Say whatever you want, mate.
The train station's got 2 stations.
2 stations.
Well, it's got the new thing and the old one.
Have they just left the old one?
They're
Just
not.
added
It's
onto
listed.
it?
They're not allowed to get rid of it.
Oh, okay.
And like, I don't know what the point of the new one
I
is.
haven't used the train in many years.
All right, sorry.
I wouldn't know.
Some of us
As we were saying,
Peasants have to. But it was just a bit pointless. I don't know why they've done that.
yeah,
Just paint the old one.
yeah,
Gold, apparently.
yeah. It's the colour to go for.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Mm.
Well, how's London? How's shapes over there?
Good.
Because you've left us. You've left the town of Coventry.
It's been quite a while now.
It has been. This is how often we get to catch up.
Yeah. It's been a while. 2018 was when I moved.
Yeah.
Literally got a small overnight bag and left in the middle of the night one day in 2018. I've not really been back since. But yeah, it's good. Can't complain. What specifically would you like to know about?
I don't know. So, as absolutely nobody knows because I only decided the other day.
Oh, you haven't actually set the premise of the podcast. We're just waffling.
The premise. We were waffling. You know, I'm starting.
It's going to be a lot of that.
It's fine. Yeah. So, as decided the other day, we are going to rename this the Happy Problems Podcast. We are talking to people about what they enjoy, how they have created their lives around it, and once they've become successful, what happy problems have been created from that. So, yeah, Mr. Rickard, could you give people a little lowdown on yourself?
Professionally?
Yeah,
because if I can, I'll be honest, can I pick holes in the premise?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Mainly on the basis of the fact that because when we spoke about this,
yes,
it was kind of like to drill down into successful people, and that's the bit that I'm going to pick a hole in.
Yeah.
And where does their drive come from? Mm-hmm. I think the main bit is the fact that they don't consider themselves to be successful yet is the main reason that's the main thing that they get their drive from.
Yeah.
Because like every time you keep saying it, and you've said it a couple of times in the last couple of hours, I wince a bit because I don't. I keep away from that phrase because I don't consider myself to be that. Because I think it's that's when you start getting complacent, and then that's when you don't do things as good as you could do.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't feel like that, so. Let's just say I'm doing okay.
Surviving.
But I want to do, there's more stuff that I want to do. And I think that's what it is. I think having that thought process, because honestly, it makes me go a little bit.
No, I understand it. But I've got to put words together to make sense for people.
You know what I mean? But again, I'm just kind of answering the premise at the same time as picking a hole in it. So yeah. But in terms of so you want to know what I do? Yeah,
just give people a lowdown because you are a man of mystery in of himself.
Right, am I?
Even I struggle keeping up with your doings.
Yeah, I mean, well, so at the moment, so I'm a television development producer, right? So that means I sit in a room coming up with TV show ideas all day.
You've explained it many times. I still don't quite understand, but
which bit don't you understand? It's easy, dead easy. So, for example, I'll give you a good example. So, for the last week, we've been filming a new show for Russell Kane, which is called Evil Genius. It's going out on Sky History, and that originally started as a podcast. So, actually, me explaining what I do for a living, this isn't going to explain it at all because it was already a podcast, so I didn't do anything. But he came to us and said, you know, I want to make this into a TV show. So we kind of put it through the TV show ringer and kind of set out exactly what would happen in the show, you know, what kind of things he'd be talking about. Because the premise of his podcast is people in history, you know, who are considered by some to be evil, some to be genius. Let's have a chat about them and find, you know, the different things that are good and bad about them, and then decide as a collective, and by collective I mean him and 3 other comedians normally, what side of that, you know, that they fall onto. And we've been filming that for the last week, and I was so to answer your question again of the stuff I do, I was the warm-up guy this time for that show, which was the first time I've done that. For a TV show. I've done loads of emceeing for comedy shows, and God knows how many talent contests you've seen me do in Coventry back in the day. But it's always the same thing, really. It's just kind of G the audience up. But normally it's brand new shows. So I work in entertainment. So it's quiz shows and reality shows and dating shows and all that kind of stuff. Before that, I was at Top Gear, coming up with the ideas for what they do in the main show. And then prior to that, and before I kind of moved to London to do it, I was just doing it in my bedroom. That's where it started. But I'm going to guess you want to talk about that later on. But that's what I'm doing right now, is TV development, which apparently you still don't quite understand.
No, vaguely. But
yeah, it's a lot of puns. There's loads of pun titles. But yeah, just kind of, they call it the main, because nothing's really new anymore.
Yeah.
It's all, they call it twisting the wheel, just a little bit, you know, to kind of make it feel fresh and new and give the audience something they haven't seen before. So That is what
Not
I
in
do.
that way, just slightly twisted. Nice.
Next question.
Oh, as if I have prepped questions here. As if. Been
No, we're
running
just gonna have a
around.
waffle.
We're just gonna have a waffle, mate. Just gonna have a waffle.
Yeah.
So, what about television quiz show development gets you excited? What gets you out of bed with it? I have to put it in a cringy way, don't I?
What gets me out of bed in the morning? Well, to go back to the beginning of why I when I started doing it, the first time I ever did it, actually, we all know the first time I did it, but we're not talking about that one. The first one I ever did was a quiz show. And I was working for a radio station in Coventry at the time. I was working for Touch FM, RIP. And I just had an idea for a quiz show one day, as you do, and decided to see how far I could take it on my own. Long story short, I didn't know anybody in television, but I had an office. In fact, you helped me film it. Just remember, you helped me film we did a little taster tape of it. Do you remember?
So long.
This was a lot. This was 2015, I think it was. Yeah, so it was a quiz show idea, and I had an office at Coventry University that they'd given me because at the time it was to do, I was doing a lot of hosting and presenting stuff.
Yeah.
So I was using that office for that, but then I changed it to using it to come up with TV show ideas because I got this quiz, and I knew it was a good idea. So I was just like, I just need to get it in front of the right people. And they mentioned something called MIP TV. So MIP TV happens in Cannes every year, where they do the film festival in France. And it's where Simon Cowell goes to Sally's X Factors, or, Got Talent. He goes and sells it to Spain or France or America, whatever. They all do it there. And I wanted to take this quiz show there till I found out how much it cost to go. It was like $2,000, which I did not have. And then I found out that they do a competition for production companies to submit their brand new ideas that they have that needs development. Yeah. So it was ran by a company called All 3 Media, which is a big company based in the UK. And I think the prize was about $15,000 to develop the show idea, and 12 months of All 3 Media's time to help. But it was for production companies, and I wasn't a production company. So I had to make one up just to get my quiz into this thing. I thought, we'll try it. I'm probably not going to get anywhere because these are proper production companies doing this. And then that quiz got to the final 5 of this competition, which meant that they gave me tickets to go, and I had to pitch the show in front of, I think it was like 800 people in that theatre. It was mad. And a panel of TV experts. Like, one of them is the guy that runs the company that owns Undercover Boss and Gogglebox and things, but I didn't know that at the time because I wanted to I wanted to know as little about how the industry worked as possible, because I didn't know the politics, and then that wouldn't kind of weigh me down. But that meant that when I got to pitch my idea at this thing, I was in this front of this panel, and the guy who runs that company was kind of picking holes in it, as it was his job. Yeah. And I didn't take very kindly to that, because I was just like, it's the best thing ever. If I'd known who it was now, I would never have done that, because he's a big guy in the TV industry. So yeah, I got down to the final 5.
Absolutely winging it your way in there.
Well, totally.
To a certain degree.
And so the other 5 companies, I was the only UK company. It was me in my bedroom. There was 4 other companies. One was from America. They'd flown all the way from America. There was 2 from France, I think, and then 2 from Israel.
Understandably, you spent quite a bit of money to be there coming home from America.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I was stood at the side of the stage once everyone had pitched, and we had done everything to ours, down to I I'd gone on tours with the people who make the fruit machines. You know, the branded fruit machines, like you can get the fruit machines with the chase on it, or deal or no deal, all that. Yeah. I'd ticked off every box because I didn't know which ones that I needed to. So I went, well, what'll happen once the quiz gets away? We'll need branded stuff. So I went to see one of the big board game companies. They gave me a tour of their place. The guys who make the fruit machines gave me a tour of the factory. It was great. And they were all like, we're ready and waiting if you get this away. So I'd got everything ticked. And the branding was great. And, you know, the premise was there. It was all done. I'd done as much as I could.
Yeah.
And so I'm stood at the side of the stage in France waiting for my name to be called out, because I'm like, there's no way it's one of the others. Not being arrogant, but I was just like, it was miles ahead in terms of what we'd done. Like one of the shows didn't even have a name for their show yet.
Okay.
So I was just like, how could you come here and not even have a name for it?
Mm.
They won. So I'm stood at the side of this stage going like, well done, well done. Also, what's happened here? And then one of the producers from All 3 Media came up to all of us and gave everyone a box of chocolates and a thank you for coming. Imagine coming from America
there you go.
and getting a box of chocolates. I felt really bad for them.
Oh, dear.
But she came over to me, gave me the box of chocolates, leant in, and she said, can you stick around? We need to speak to you. And I didn't say it, but I was thinking, damn right you do. Because I was just like, I don't understand what's happened.
Give it to them and then we can talk to him about something else.
So then they sat me down afterwards and they were like, look, you're probably wondering why you haven't got a check in your hand. And I was like, yes. And they went, well, this is a development prize, this whole thing. And when we looked at your idea, we kind of think that you've done most of it. So again, going back to I don't know what to do. I need to do, so I'll do everything.
Yeah.
And they went, we think you've done most of it and it's kind of ready to be pitched to a broadcaster. So if you can go away, they genuinely went, if you just go away and get it commissioned in the UK, we'll do a distribution deal with you. And I was just like, oh, that's going to be easy. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the help.
They did help me out a little bit. But so we got that. We did get that, some development money from a broadcaster in daytime, but they just couldn't find the space for it. It was just log jammed at the time with Jeremy Kyle was still on at the time, and like this morning, so it was ITV obviously. But I'm determined to get that show away one day. It's definitely got the legs to do
still
it.
There.
But that's kind of how it started. A funny story about that. I actually did that pitch in front of 800 people with no sleep and hungover, or still drunk maybe, because I went to Cannes. The only way to get there is from Luton Airport. And I was like, and again, I had no money at the time. So I was just like, what's the cheapest flight I can get? It was like 3 a.m. So I was just like, well, if I go, if I fall asleep and like wake myself, I'm not going to wake up to get up, to go to get this flight. So the better idea in my head was take my suitcase and go to the Casbah.
Wow.
So I went out. I went to the Casbah. And then I think Rainbows as well. If you remember Rainbows, I went there as well.
Stay at Casbah. You went to.
I went a couple. Yeah, if you're going to do it, go mental.
Right.
So I turn up in France like this, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be fine." I was not fine.
Wow.
But I did all right. And as I say, that's what kicked it all off. Excuse me. And then I carried on doing that. I was in COP for a while, still. So coming up with my own ideas, because I felt that was the easier. I much preferred that, and I didn't know that many people in telly anyway. And it wasn't until I was sat down, I was pitching to the BBC at New Broadcasting House, which is just off Oxford Street in London, because I was going to London every couple of weeks to pitch to someone else.
Okay.
And I'd managed to get in front of a commissioner at the BBC. And she went, and I pitched the idea, and she went, look, the idea is great. And she went, but the problem is, and she went, well done for getting here, but the problem is, even if this was the next Big Brother or Love Island, I can't commission it from you because you can't make it, right? I was just like, yeah, good point. And she went, what you need to do is kind of pair yourself up with another production company and then I can commission it from them, but you'd still own it. So that's what I started doing then. So I started optioning ideas.
Literally learning the hoops of, like, just going at it before you even know the hoops you need to go through.
Well, I just think that's the best way to do it, really. And then, so she kind of recommended somebody to go and have a chat with, which I did. And then I optioned a few ideas to them. And then I think it was one day, I think I was in London one day. I was at a friend's flat and it was a lovely, beautiful place in Camden. And I was sat in this living room on my own because they'd gone to work. And I was just like, why am I not already here? Like, this is beautiful. Like, if I was, working for somebody else, I could be living somewhere like this. So that's when I decided to take the leap. And then the rest is history, Ed. So hopefully I didn't ramble on too much, but there's the background in how it all started.
What I often get from doing the corporate jobs that I do when they have people, presenters coming in talking about their history and what they've gone through to get to where they are.
Yeah.
Very often the thread that I get is people that are tenacious enough to just go out there and try and not be afraid of people saying no to them and just taking that as part of the journey.
Well, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's what success is. What's the quote? I think it was, what do they say when they, success is continuously failing with no loss of enthusiasm. I've completely mashed that quote, but you get the point. Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of, you've got to keep plugging, and I guess knowing that that's part of what that journey is and means that you're not going to get, because I honestly, you
obviously didn't understand that to begin with, right?
Which bit?
The understanding that failure is just part of the journey. Was there a point where that you kind of turned that in your head? Because there definitely was for myself, where I just kind of learnt that, you know what, that's just part of it. Yeah. But like, I think
Did
you know that from the get-go? Did you know?
No, but I'm just really annoying and won't go away. So I'm just persistent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people don't appreciate that. But yeah, I think that's literally it. It's just like, I know, because like, for example, with that quiz, I knew it was a good idea.
Yeah.
I knew it had legs. Because at the end of the day, I watch TV as well, same as everybody else. So I knew it was different enough to be able to be picked.
Would want to watch.
But then, like I say, you kind of learn everything else along the way. But I very intentionally did it that way because I almost didn't want to learn up front. Because the thing is, if I'd learned up front that like the chances of you getting it, the chances of you getting anywhere with, like, for example,
you didn't want to
with
hear
that
the chances.
like I had a piece of paper. I remember I've still got it somewhere. There's a piece of paper with the set design that I did.
Okay.
If you'd gone back to me, like if future me went back to past me and went, well, you could do that, but like you're never going to get it because you need to be one of these big production companies before you'll even get commissioned. Then I'd go, well, what's the fucking point? But like, because I intentionally didn't know that, I think naivety is a really good thing. Yeah.
Just don't learn anything that other people would want to tell you, and just be stubborn enough.
Rules are made up, right?
Yeah.
Rules are made up. Somebody else has made those rules up.
Yeah.
And they weren't there before that person did it.
Yeah.
So fuck the rules is what I guess I'm saying. Sorry.
It's all right.
But I guess that's it a little bit. It's just like, you can bend those rules. And that's been ingrained in me to answer that question. Yeah, exactly. You don't always don't follow the rules. Because again, they're made by other human beings who are no cleverer than you are. So,
Fuck
just
it.
go for it anyway.
Just go and try anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And again, So for example, as I said last week, I was the warm-up act for Russell Kane's Evil Genius. I've never done a TV warm-up before in my life. And the only bit of prep I did, this is true. He went
to Casbah, guys.
I didn't go to the Casbah. That would have
prep.
I mean, I don't need an excuse. Is it still good, the Casbah? I've not been for years.
It's still going. Times are hard in the nightclub industry generally.
Yeah.
Certain clubs are disappearing on their way out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the Casbah's still there.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Evil Genius. So I'd never done it before. The only bit of prep I did was I went to watch, because where I work is based at Television Centre in White City, and they film loads of different stuff there. And I went to watch Loose Women because it was on whilst I was at work.
Yeah.
So I asked them, can I pop in and watch your warm-up guy? And that was the only bit of prep I did. And yeah, I kind of just learned as I went on. And I literally did, because we filmed for 3 days. We filmed 5 episodes, 3 days. And it sounds funny now, but I turned around to the director at the end and went, I think I got it. I got the hang of it by the end. But that's just because, I was learning as I was going on. Like the first day, the kind of talk back the in-ear things that they give you. I didn't have one on the first day. So I did my big speech about, hi, I'm your new warm-up guy. And then sat down and went, fuck, I don't know what's going on now, because no one's telling me anything. I've got nobody giving me the information, so I can't tell the audience. And then obviously after that first show, I went, get me an in-ear, because I need to know what's going on, so I can then tell them. And then after that, it was fine. But again, that was me just kind of going, I'll learn later. I've got plenty of those stories. Loads.
There's a certain superpower on just going and doing. There's so many people that are afraid to even try. Oh, I don't quite have the skill set on that.
Yeah.
I've always said,
bollocks.
just say yes and figure out how to do it on the way over.
Yeah, apologise later.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I quite fucked that up a bit.
Yeah, I did that. I've done that a million times. And so years ago, I used to work so before TV, I worked in radio.
Yeah.
And I first started at Mercia, which is now Free Radio.
Yeah.
And then got fired from there.
Why? Why?
Because I was at the Casbah. Genuinely, I've just remembered there's going to be a theme here apparently in my times in commentary.
All the success and all the failure starts.
No, I was one of the promo team, and I think we had a job in Leamington.
Okay.
And I was meant to be there at 10 a.m. I think I was still asleep when it started, because I'd been out till about 7. I don't know where I'd been.
Wow. I need to go out more if this is the...
Oh, it's not anymore. I don't drink now. I don't for that reason, because I can handle my drink really well, but I can't handle the aftermath.
Yeah.
Is the problem. So now I don't drink. But yeah, so I got fired from there, and then I went to Kerrang Radio after that. And then everyone at Kerrang was getting made redundant. There was things happening with the place at the time. So I went, sod it, so I was a tech op at Kerrang. So I used to do the overnights. So I'd be there from 11 at night till 6 a.m. Just pressing the buttons. So it's all pre-recorded shows, but I was the only person in the building. So basically, if I fell asleep, a national radio station went off.
Things would turn off.
Yeah. And the problem, Kerrang Radio used to be sponsored by Monster Energy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know those. And I used to drink, because there was fridges full of them in
everywhere.
the place.
Yeah,
and
I
was like, shit, if I need to keep my energy up, because if I go to... Literally, the danger of me falling asleep was very real.
Yeah.
So I used to walk out like that every day.
Shaking.
Because the amount of Monster I was
How many?
drinking. Oh, in a shift, about 4. Because there was nothing else to drink.
I swear, man, if you drink like 2 of those, it gives you diarrhea.
No comment. No comment.
Not good for you.
No.
But yeah.
But I'm down to 1 Red Bull a day now, so it's fine. But yeah, so everyone was getting made redundant. So I was just like, sorry, I'm going to go and find another job. So I literally, Kerrang used to be based in Lionel Street in Birmingham. And down the road on Broad Street was Heart FM.
Yeah.
So I just walked in off the street. I didn't know anyone there. Walked in and went, I'm a producer from Kerrang. I wasn't a producer. I was a tech op. I pressed some buttons. I said, I'm a producer from Kerrang, and I know you probably know what's going on over there. So I was just seeing if there's any opportunities. And it was the receptionist was like, okay, I'll just call somebody, thinking that she'd go, oh no, they're not available. The bloody, program controller comes down, and he goes, oh, do you want to pop up for a coffee? So I was just like, yes. Had a coffee. Just sort of tell me about yourself. What have you done? Made a load of stuff up.
Wow. How much? Like.
Pretty much all of it, because I've not done anything other than tech op and promo.
But you've seen things.
Yeah, exactly. You pick stuff up, right, as you go along.
Yeah.
And he went, well, we've got an opportunity so basically we've got two breakfast show producers, and one of them's going on holiday for a few weeks. Do you want to be the breakfast show producer, assistant producer? I was like, yeah, sure. He went, you think you'll be able to handle that? I went, definitely. And then, like, within a couple of weeks, I was the breakfast, assistant producer. I didn't go very well at all, and not because I didn't know what I was doing. It was because it was kind of ad hoc. I also had to have another job.
Yeah,
and you can't do breakfast. And then, so I was getting there at like 4 a.m. in Birmingham from Bedworth, and then 4 a.m. and then I'd finish the show, and then I'd run into town, into Birmingham, and I'd be working I used to work at Ted Baker in House of Fraser. And I'd work there till 8 o'clock at night. And then because it's, again, Bedworth, had to get a train and a bus and
hopefully
things.
Hopefully no one recognised you.
I was getting nosebleeds and everything because I was just
wow.
so run down. So that I had to knock that on the head pretty quickly. But then luckily that free radio, which I'd been fired from, then had me back. I went back there. They fired me again, but that's not the point. But I can't even remember what for now. I think I said the wrong thing once. But yeah, exactly.
You said the wrong thing.
I know, right? Yeah.
Fucking hard to believe.
So the point that I'm getting to was, I just throw yourself in there, because they can only say no, and eventually you'll get a yes from somebody.
Yeah.
Because the amount of times I've, like, again with television, so when I said I wanted to move to London, it took me a year. Because I went to a million different production companies, and not one of them could kind of get it. Because normally with TV, you start on a trainee scheme or something, then you're a runner, and then you're a researcher, and then you work your way up. I was like, I'm not doing any of those things. I'm going to be an assistant producer, because I've pitched to XYZ, these commissioners. I've done this. I've got options agreements. It would be a waste of their time and money to have me,
Yeah, definitely.
So I was just like, I'm pitching myself as this. And every single one of them looked at my CV and just went, I cannot compute.
Yeah.
Because
you haven't done that. People
don't do that. And that really got to me, that, because I was just like, for an industry in development that's supposed to be about thinking outside the box, doesn't extend to the recruitment process. And I was just like, it's crazy that there's only one certain way. But again, I just kept on doing it and going to see different people until somebody, and I remember there's a woman called Natalie Goldberg, and she sat down, and within 10 seconds of looking at my CV, she went, "You don't fit into a box, do you, Johnny?" And I went, I just had a sigh of relief and went, no, thank God someone's getting it, and she got it. And then she was just like, perfect. We want somebody like you that's, had a wide-ranging array of experience. Didn't tell her why I had that wide-ranging experience. Nothing to do with being fired from half of them. But she got it. And that's, you don't need to please everybody. in life.
So you're saying you didn't fit within a box now, like has it always kind of been that way? Because this is something as a creative I somewhat feel myself. I always say my study started when I left university, when people stopped telling me what to do and I could just go in a direction. So is that something you found out, or
what, in terms of not being able to fit into a box?
Or seeing there's value outside of that box?
Well, I've always been painfully aware that I don't fit into the proverbial box. And that was, so for you, it was when you left university. For me, it was when I left school and went to university. Because I went to school around the corner from here. And it's quite a strict Christian school, and I was just I was just obsessed with television and comedy at school, and they just saw me as a bit of a pain in the bum in terms of, you know,
what they were trying to do.
I was a class clown a little bit, right? But like I was always trying to get them involved. I always wanted. That's what I think. I always thought it was a little bit different, and again, some of the teachers understood that. In fact, I'm still good friends with a couple of those teachers that got it. Because I appreciated those people, because they drove me to do better stuff because they understood it. But basically, long story short, like, because they just dismissed me as a distraction and a class clown, they treat me that way. And by the end of school, that's what I thought I was. I just thought I was an idiot, because they told me that that's essentially what I was. And it wasn't until I went to university, and it was literally instant, that I kind of started to think that I might have more than one brain cell in my head. And it was from the first day, because I think we did, funnily enough, a pitching, because I did advertising at university, and advertising and marketing, I think it was. I don't know, I've not looked at it since I left, but we did a pitching exercise. You know, we had to pitch ourselves to the rest of the class, and they immediately, at the end, they went, right, okay, well, we've chosen a winner, and it's Johnny, or John at the time. I hadn't changed it to Johnny, but they went, John's the best. And I it was so weird, because I went, what? I was just like, a teacher's telling me that I've just done the best in a class. And it was so weird. It was like a little light bulb went on, because I went, this is brand new. They don't know my history. They, you know, and what other people have told them about, you know, and it was like, right. And it's exactly that. They've seen me fresh. So I'm going to completely change everything in terms of not only how they will see me, but how I saw myself. And then that's when I started having, you know, crazy ideas like going into radio.
So from looking into that and seeing that new space and that new environment, that you could reinvent yourself and be confident and strive in a certain direction. Is that a similar thing to going to London? Like,
well, I've always wanted to move to London since I was 15. And I remember the very moment that I knew that I would. And again, it was when I was 15. I literally stood in Piccadilly Circus going, 100% I'm going to live here. This is where we're going to end up. But again, when I was at university, I saw that many people move to London to do one thing. And then again, going back to me working at Heart FM and having to work at Ted Baker, they'd have to go, and they'd go there to do one thing, but they'd have to pay the bills, right? It's expensive down there. And then one day they'd turn around, wake up and realise, actually, all I'm doing is the other thing that was there to support that thing, and now I'm not doing the other thing. And then they'd go, why the hell am I paying all this money for that? And then they'd come back again. And I'd see that over and over again. And I went, I'm not making that mistake. And then, you know, I said, whatever it is I go to do down there, I need to be established in it before I go. So there's no danger of coming back with my tail between my legs. But that wasn't the reason you were asking me about moving to London, was it? What was the...
Going to the new environment and being confident.
And being new and different.
Because people get an idea of themselves in that first environment. And I've seen that myself. Like
I've got a great example of this. Yeah,
going externally from that, people only see your value; they don't see your history.
Yeah,
and there are time and time again. Well, this is why I work in so many different industries. Like people in nightclubs just see me as a nightclub photographer, but I go out and I absolutely kill it in the weddings and externally, and people are like, "Oh, I didn't know you did that." Like,
yeah, of course, and there was an element of that. Not as much because by the time I'd moved, I was already moving in those circles anyway.
Yeah.
Where I went to live was with a group of friends that I was there every couple of weeks for a good couple of years, and that was the place that I stayed. That's where I eventually went to live.
Okay.
I don't live there now, but that's where I first moved.
Yeah.
And so no, it was more of a continuation once I got there. But certainly there was a pressure because, like in London, like everybody, they think Coventry's like the north. Yeah, do you know what I mean? They rope it. If it's north of Watford, it's just the north. Yeah, which really pisses me off. And you know, there's a little bit of the Oxbridge thing still there, a little bit. So I certainly tried to, you know, little things like changing the way I'd say certain words.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You have to, because otherwise they will just look down at you. And it's really funny because, so obviously I've been filming with Russell Kane this week.
Yeah.
And one thing that Russell said when he was filming to the other comedians there was he was so aware of people thinking he was an idiot that he used to have a list of... Oh, I've broken your microphone.
It's all right.
He used to have a list of... I'll start that again.
Go on.
He used to have a list of big words.
Okay.
And the meanings of them. Because he needed, you know, if I expand my vocabulary... did I say that right?
Yeah.
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary.
People will see me as more intelligent.
Mm.
And it made me laugh. I was sat, you know, behind the audience, laughing my head off because I've got the same list in my phone. And I went over to him when we finished shooting, and I said, "I've got something to show you," because he was ashamed of this list, by the way.
Okay. So why do you admit it?
One day he burnt it because he's Russell Kane now.
Yeah.
He don't need to. So, but he burnt this list because he didn't want anyone to know he had it. And I went over to him and I said, "Oh, I just want to show you something." And he obviously went, "It's not a picture of penis, is it?" I went, "No." And I got my phone out and showed him this big list of, because I add to it all the time still. I still think it's valuable. And his eyes lit up because I think it was the first time he'd ever seen anybody else with the same list of big words and trying to, you know, change how you're perceived by other people. It might sound really silly, but I think it makes a difference. And I think that there's, you know, in terms of reinventing yourself and the perception of how people see you, I've done it more than my fair share. I've got to tell you that. But I think you have to. Yeah. If you're like us and trying to do a million different things, because, you know, there's a lot of faking it till you make it kind of thing. Yeah. So you have to do that, otherwise you get found out. I'm still waiting for people to find me out now.
So you were saying as well earlier about that imposter syndrome you were speaking about, I swear, at some point.
But even if I wasn't, let's talk about imposter syndrome. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. How is that? Obviously, it will change over time to a certain degree, but
I don't think it'll ever go away.
I myself find little moments when I'm really just really in that thought process. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but there are times where it will just hit me all of a sudden, and it's like, who do I think I am? Not doing things the normal way.
I do get it, and I don't think that kind of thing will ever go away, because you're jumping into stuff that you in your head have got no right being in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And for me personally, I try so many things. I still try new things. This being one of them.
To do, yeah, sure.
I still try and I'll try and commit to it to a certain degree. I'll learn my mistakes, and then I might well move on to the next thing. It might not even be a point of success, actual success, but I would have learnt my lessons on that journey. Having my photography studio didn't necessarily earn a living from that. It paid for itself, but I've learnt lessons. So
sure, yeah, yeah. Again, imposter syndrome never goes away, really. I don't think, and certainly, like I say, if you keep pushing yourself into different stuff, I think it's gone away slightly now in television, but I don't think it'll entirely go away because I enjoy being in that space as well. You know, of I'm not meant to be in here. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I'm not supposed to be here. I quite like it. I'm going to press some buttons and, you know, lick some people's faces that I'm not supposed to. It's a weird example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And because I work in television, like there's no. I think that development. Because I work in development, that's why I get away with it, because there's no wrong answer with development.
yeah,
You know, you know, if you're easily offended, don't work in television development, because you have to throw around some wild shit, you know, some crazy ideas to eventually fall on the right one. But you know, nothing can be off the table whilst you're trying to get there, which again kind of plays to my strengths a little bit, I suppose. Yeah.
If someone was listening and they wanted to get into television,
you're not allowed.
So it's
mine. There's too many people in it already.
Because it's been said that people in Coventry or Midlands or whatever, they eventually leave once they've started doing something.
Yeah.
So, what would you suggest to people if they were wanting to get into
move? I know it's tough, isn't it? Like, you know, Lord knows I tried my hardest to get television to Coventry. Some would say for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, it's changing. Television is changing in that regard. Obviously, there's a lot more that's happening in Birmingham. Yeah. You've got there's a great team over. You know, remember the old IKEA?
Yeah.
Like that's now a TV studio, believe it or not.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They gave me a little tour of the place. It's amazing what they're trying to achieve in there. I don't necessarily think that they're going to. I really hope they do.
Yeah.
But the problem that you have is you're having to then persuade people who live in London to get a train to Coventry.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be able to keep the talent here. Now, there's loads going on in Birmingham. The BBC are going to be opening brand new offices at the Thai food factory, I think, in Digbeth. They're spending a lot of money over there. It looks great. And that'll be nice. And I would have killed to have that there when I was trying, you know, early on. So, and there'll be loads of things that crop up off the back of that development. So I can see it being really good for this area. There's some good stuff there's a production company in Stratford. Stratford, there's a good little production company there that do a lot of good TV shows as well. And obviously you've got loads of stuff in Manchester as well. But in terms of the Midlands, I think over the next decade, it's going to change massively, because they have to appeal to, you know, everybody. So that means include everybody in the making of it. So it'll definitely change. It's definitely getting there.
What's going on now? What's next?
What's next for me?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't mind doing some more TV warm-up work, actually. Now I've just done
he's had a go at that. He's had a taste
honestly, of that. Yeah. I mean, but it's so weird because, like, when I first did TV development, it kind of made sense. I know we've obviously spoken before when I said I didn't have a bloody clue what I was doing, but it made sense for me because it ticked every box that I'd ever. So to go back to all the weird random shit that we do all the time.
Yeah.
It ticked all of those random boxes. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, I did an advertising degree, so I knew how to pitch an idea and how to present it properly. And again, radio, knew how to, you know, accentuate what I was saying and make it sound good. You know, down to all the other kinds of stuff. You know, I'd worked in phone shops for a couple of years. Know how to sell to somebody direct. It's silly. All those little things.
Yeah. And
then I went, and then somebody posed the idea of the job I now do, and I was just like, well, actually, yeah, it's all in there. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of made sense. And I suppose the same with TV warm up. Like I do a lot of comedy, so I do stand up. I would definitely put it in the hobby bracket because I'm just too busy. Like if
the opportunity comes around,
if you want to do that stuff properly, you've got to do 5 nights a week, and I just haven't. Yeah, I'd die. Yeah, I would just collapse.
Well, you've done your time getting nosebleeds.
Yeah, but like I say, so because I've done that and all the other stuff, excuse me, TV warm up kind of seems like a logical thing to do next. So, but it's funny that you're asking me about it, because I was talking to my girlfriend, because she came to one of the records, and she was just like, you're definitely going to do it again. I was just like, yeah, probably. And I was just like, yeah, I could see myself doing that for a while. She went, no. I went, what do you mean no? She was just like, you'll get bored and you'll want to do something else.
Yeah.
Because that's you. That's just what you do. You do one thing and you completely blag your way in, you know, get to a point where you're not as blaggy. I'll always be blaggy in everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'll always be kind of tinkering around the edges. And she went, and the second that you think that you're starting to possibly get comfortable with it, you'll go, no, fuck that. I want to do something else now. She's right. I just can't help it. I don't know why. It's just a innate sense of, I like the innate sense of danger.
Yeah.
I guess.
Challenge, maybe.
Challenge.
Yeah,
I don't think that's strong enough a word.
No.
Danger. I like,
danger.
You know. Yeah, I just like doing crazy shit, and then seeing how far I can get with it, or as my mother calls it, not a proper job. But I'm never going to have one of them.
Is that a nickname for
that?
you?
Is it? That is literally my life's work, is trying to not do as many not proper jobs as possible.
Yeah.
But why not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. But even if it was something I enjoyed,
that's a proper job.
If it was going to the same place every day.
Well, that's what I do.
Okay, well, maybe you've got a proper job then. Sorry, you've got a proper job.
Maybe, but like, but it's television centre. It's the home of TV. So like, when I've been there 2 years now, and I said this to my boss the other day, I still walk up, and before I go into the office, I'll have a little walk around the whole building, because it's television centre, man. You know what I mean? I'm never going to get bored of that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't suppose it is. But again, it's just, I think you mean more
it ticks all the
a job
boxes,
you don't like.
And I'm really stoked for you, and I'm somewhat envious of you.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
To land in... Well, we're all just throwing darts at a dartboard, right?
Yeah.
You landed pretty...
Shit at a wall.
It sounds like you landed pretty close to something that really ticks a lot of boxes for you.
Yes.
Whereas
yeah, absolutely. But there was an awful lot more shit thrown at walls before I got there. Do you know what I mean? To answer your question. Yeah. And that's why, and you just said, you know, being scared of failure. I've never been scared of it, because you have to fail in order to succeed. Like, no one throws it at the wall and gets it. You've got to get there. And you can't unless you fail, because those failures inform how to succeed.
Yeah.
So no, never been scared of it for that very reason. But yeah, so you just said you're envious of it. So it was because of the fact that I've kind of got to...
Well, hey, you know what? I absolutely love what I do. I'm very proud that I've achieved like all the kit that I have is my own. I've learned and come a long way, and I've built a business, and I have employees now. And
Still don't like your fucking heater though, do you?
no, listen, no way, mate. This is an experiment.
Poor
This is
heater.
hobby. This is your comedy. Like comedy is your hobby. It's a bit rough and ready. This is a bit rough. Well, I'm not
I don't
judging
think
your
it's
comedy.
rough and ready. This is a very professional setup you've got
Oh,
here.
bless you. Thank you very much.
Lovely. Got the big umbrella thing. See what I mean? I work in television. I just called it the big umbrella thing.
Well, yeah. I got one of the umbrella things, guys.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. But yeah, no, I love where I am, and I've managed to find enough things to be able to fulfill the different bits of happiness that I have, but it's not in one place, and it isn't where I thought I'd land at all. It's not as if I had the starry-eyed dream to go towards television necessarily or something like that. But like I was only ever accidentally a photographer. I was always supposed to be video first, and then fell
Okay.
into photography. So
Well, we can still get you there. What's the thing that you want to do?
well, I'm getting there. Slowly.
Yeah. Well-
slowly. So
You do it. You do it a lot. You do a lot of videography, don't you?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where do you want to? What do you want to?
Well, I've got projects that
Videog.
I haven't shown people yet, so I could show you more of the stuff that I would like to be doing, but it hasn't been released yet, so I shouldn't really talk
Keep it
about
under the old lock and key.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Again, like you say, it's shit at a wall. So I
Yeah.
can never really I will never be able to turn around and go, yeah, you're right. You should be envious. Look out.
Yeah.
I'll never be like that because, like I say, number one, I blagged it, and I'm still blagging it, and I'll always blag it. But number two, there'll be something else I want to blag later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not in a like.
So you're always going to have this video to refer
premise
back
of-
to people.
Yeah, but like the premise of
Okay.
you're in a place
thing
where you're
aiming
happy with it.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
There'll always be something else.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to, what's the next bit, so I'll never be happy, Ed, is the main point we're trying to make.
Well, it's the journey, mate. It's the journey. That's what it is. Like the end destination is nice to sit down for a couple of minutes and take in the scenery, but beyond that, it's the journey.
Yeah.
So.
What a lovely message.
Yes, that's what we've
What a
gotten around
lovely
to.
message.
Now, are there any terrible stories we can squeeze out of you just for views? Is there anything, any bullshit we can dig up from anyone?
What, you mean nothing from the last few minutes is going to get you some views? So you need some more juicy
I'm
shit?
seeing if there's anything else I can squeeze out of you.
What do you want?
I don't know.
Ask me quick ones,
Quick
and I
fire.
can't think. I won't think about it. I'll just answer
think of
it.
questions like this is very unscripted, so
Just go for it. Let's try one.
Nothing too rude. No, it's fine. Okay, I'm happy if you're happy, so we're good.
Well, no, honestly, let's try and squeeze something out.
Oh, we're good, man. We've done an hour, so
You sure?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
You
to
happy?
Squeeze, if you want. But I thought that was
I'm-
quite a
I'm-
nice little thing to end on.
Yeah, and I probably will cut it and leave it there.
Yeah. But you
But-
wanted juicy shit.
Well, I was just.
Who do you want me to slag off? I'll do it. Who? Who shall I slag off? Give me a name.
Because these are slightly related to me. The funny picture of the boobies that I got
I'm not
a long
gonna talk
time
about
ago. What else? Don't know.
I'm not talking about for
Well, there we
obvious
go.
reasons. Don't put this in at all.
I'll cut it. It's fine.
But that was off the record legally.
It's off the record.
Just-
I'm going to cut it. So we were at an hour pretty much.
Okay.
But should we wrap up then?
Sure. Didn't we just do that?
Yeah, we can wrap up, but actually on camera because we cut all that.
Yeah.
There we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching this podcast, the Happy Problems podcast. Hopefully we can make it a bit more concise in guidance for going forward. But I'm
I
enjoying.
thought that was fairly concise.
It was very good, but I'm enjoying. We just make it up as we go along. So that's quite fun.
Best way to do
It
it.
is the best way, as we found out. So, is there any things you want anyone to follow or anything at all with yourself?
Just follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
And
there you go. Isn't that
Jesus.
wholesome? Isn't that wholesome? Don't follow anything on social.
Your heart and the baby Jesus.
Follow baby Jesus with your heart.
Yes.
There we go.
With all of it.
Thank you very much, guys. Cheers for watching, and we're going to close it there. Catch you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Peace.